Chapter 5 The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. The Emerald Tablets are organized in 7 rubrics, or paragraphs. The word rubric is derived from the Latin word rubio, meaning the color red, most likely because it was the color of orichalcum, composing the pillars of Atlantis. This organizational method was so designated red as it referenced the color used to highlight the first letter or the beginning of a paragraph. The first rubric asks us to come to a higher awareness and to be open to deeper truths. The doctrine of correspondence describes a vertical relationship between matter and spirit, termed the second rubric. It is the portal in which the alchemists of the past claim to have lifted the veil into alternative dimensional realities. As compared to the vertical axis, the horizontal axis describes the relationship between matter, objects, kind of like billiard balls, sans spirit. The third rubric pertains to the nature of the one thing, implying the first matter or universal life force. The first 2 sentences of the rubric portray the 4 elements as fire, water, air, and earth, respectively. Alchemical correlations with the 4 elements are calcinations, dissolutions, separation, and conjunction. The 4th rubric is the most mysterious part of the Emerald Tablets and seems to be telling us how to enter the spiritual realm defined as the above. Reference 1, page 9. Fermentation, distillation, and coagulation are the last alchemy operations for a total of 7. The 5th rubric discusses the result of the last rubric, whose result is a pure quintessence. Figure 12, Emerald Tablets of Thoth. A summarized meta-perspective is given in the 6th rubric. It suggests that a universal pattern exists that leads one to total transformation in a multi-dimensional reality simulator. This specific pattern is reported to be endemic in the laws of evolution of matter and the guiding force seen in nature. The first rubric also identified the author of the tablet as thrice greatest Hermes. Hermes was the name given to the Greek god, also known as, aka, the Egyptian god of wisdom, Thoth. While in Egypt, Thoth was credited with introducing writing, mathematics, and music to the primitive workers. Known as Mercury to the Romans, he purportedly was deemed thrice greatest, given the fact that he had conquered obscure knowledge about accessing all 3 levels of reality: the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane. This could also be representative of the number of incarnations he experienced up to that time, but according to the details within the tablets, he is immortal and his soul can occupy human bodies through the ages. Thoth built the Giza Pyramid Complex circa 10,500 BCE during the Age of Leo. The Sphinx has a lion's body related to the zodiacal sign and the face of Ningshita according to the Emerald Tablets. The deluge mentioned in the Sumerian kings list, Atrahasis Noah's biblical flood, occurred after the first 9 rulers had observed the Anunnaki as kings for 176,000 years. This brings us to the time frame of one of the many great flood events discussed by the Egyptian priests from Sais, who divulged Greece's history to Solon. Following the destructive flood, an era the Egyptians called Zep Tepi, the first times, an occult group of Anunnaki gods made an attempt to restructure civilization for the survivors by providing the basics of civilization, as seen slightly earlier in the Mesopotamian culture of Sumer. Thoth and the Osirian mysteries occupied the Egyptian peoples, while Quetzalcoatl, Viracocha, and Kukulkan reigned in advanced civilizations in the Yucatan. These survivors and ancient alien pioneers were considered the pre-Diluvian heroes of old. Names such as Enoch, Methuselah, and Noah mentioned in Genesis come to mind. Efforts to locate ancient buried mysteries continue to this day. Ground-penetrating radar has significantly improved the chances of finding fossil fuel reservoirs like natural gas and oil beneath the ground. This technology has also been applied to locating and mapping underground structures among archaeologists in recent years. The SIRA radar system was used in Egypt circa 1978 to map an underground complex beneath the Egyptian pyramids. The Egyptian president, Anwar Sadat, facilitated 30 years of secret excavations using the ground-penetrating radar systems. A key figure and scientist, Dr. Jim Hertok, previewed some film footage he gathered using the radar-derived data. Chambers of the Deep, based on the Giza project, revealed the discovery of a vast mega-metropolis 15,000 years old, reaching several levels below the Giza plateau. A legendary city of the gods was revealed laying underground with massive chambers and enormous statues. The city spans an area as large as the Nile Valley, complete with submerged waterways. Reference 7. The technology used to create the in situ city is impressive, asserting that the surface Giza Pyramid and the Sphinx are insignificant above-ground reference points. Given the recent radar findings below the surface in Egypt, it is interesting to compare with what Thoth said in his writings about the structures in the Emerald Tablets. Perhaps the account he gave indicating the location of the halls of Amenti coincide with Dr. Hertog's secretive underground discoveries previewed in the film Chambers of the Deep, which he claims will be released to the populace at the end of the century. I read this statement of future intent to disclose such an important discovery with disdain. Why wait to the end of the century, Dr. Hertog, to inform the public? The technology discovered in the City of the Gods far exceeds the industrial machinery we modern folks are familiar with. Arthur C. Clarke stated that any technology beyond our own would seem like magic to us. Dr. Hertog's findings indicate links to the Atlantean civilization, claiming unequivocal evidence indicating that all languages, cultures, and religions can be accredited to this parent civilization. Reference is made to a language of light and discusses the pre-scientist Enoch existing in a previous time cycle. According to Dr. Hertog's finding, Enoch was associated with building the Great Pyramid Complex and establishing an ascension strategy involving genetics and light energy interacting with matter. Enoch is a notorious figure from Genesis and the biblical Canaan. As the father of Methuselah and grandfather of Noah, Enoch was credited as the original architect of Zion, a city he built and dedicated to Enlil Yahweh, as well as being credited in introducing language and the calendar to humanity in Sumer, Egypt, and the Yucatan. Recall from the Bible that Enoch is taken into the skies by the Anunnaki to teach him the secrets of the earth and heaven. Additionally, he lives 365 years, according to Genesis 5:23, after which time he is taken to be with the gods. His discussion in the Lost Book of Enoch about his illuminating physics lessons in space are epic. Additionally, the birth account of Noah provided by Enoch in his Lost Book further emphasizes Enoch's ethereal role counseling Lamech and his family as to the true nature of the baby and his mission relative to man. As fitting for a messenger, Enoch brings back weights and measures from the gods in heaven to the primitive workers as a civilizing gesture. Known to the Egyptians as Thoth, lord of magic and time, Ningishita or Gazeta to the Sumerians, Enoch was considered to hold the keys to the secrets of immortality. Thoth promises to return at the end of time with the keys to the gates of the sacred land according to the Emerald Tablets. Could this return coincide with that of Quetzalcoatl promised at the winter solstice 2012? Is this return timing somewhat suspicious given the plan seen by the Illuminati concerning their attempt to roll out the New World Order? Now all over the headlines and on the internet. The 2012 came and went, just like the millennial Y2 scare over digital data memory allocation issues with concerns the date would not roll over correctly, bringing the digital devices to an error state. The fearful cried wolf, but it was a non-event. Was it a psychological operation to experiment with societal fear levels? If, as I have stated in my first book, Thoth could and did incarnate in many cultures, including the incarnation of Jesus Yahshua, he can be seen as casting a line to the suppressed primitive workers. The goal Thoth had in mind was continuing the teachings he headed up in the mystery schools in Egypt. As pointed out in John 1:12, to all who received him, Thoth Ningshita Jesus, in the frequency dispensing dying Ryan God ritual, to them gave he power, energy as a frequency dispensation, to the receptor nerve ganglion of Impar located in the human sacrum at the tip of the coccyx bone, with the ability to become, that means transform, to the sons of God. This is the first key to ascension, recognizing who Ningshita Jesus really was and how the process of getting out of the simulator works. Let's now take a look at the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, as translated by D'Oreal in 1930. See reference 10.